Hey everyone, Joe here from the Staten Lab, and in this video I'm going to be going over how to create a triple site from scratch using a developer tool called TripleDoc. TripleDoc is a command line tool that allows you to quickly create a site with TripleThee installed using Docker. To get started with this tutorial, all you need is a bash command line. We're going to use the command line to install a few tools, some of which you may already have. If you see installation of a tool you already have, feel free to skip through at your leisure. The first thing we need to grab is command line PHP, which will allow us to execute PHP scripts on the command line. You can check to see if you already have command line PHP using the command php-v, which is the command to list the version of PHP installed. If a version isn't listed, you should instead get a prompt with a command to install it. The command is sudo apt install php 7.2 CLI. This might be a good time to check the TripleDoc page, which will be in the description below, to see what the latest version of PHP is supported by TripleDoc, but for the purposes of this tutorial, PHP 7.2 should work fine. When we run php-v again, we can see that it now properly lists the version of PHP that we're using, and we should be good to go to execute PHP scripts from the command line. Now that we can run PHP from the command line, we should now pick up Composer. Composer is a package manager for PHP, and it makes installing the PHP software needed for TripleDoc far easier and much more efficient. The easiest way to install Composer is to visit the Composer website, which I'll link in the description, and find the PHP script in the download section of the site. Copy and paste it into your terminal, and it will check to make sure you have PHP installed. After it finishes, it should add a composer.far file into your current directory. Run this composer.far file with the command php composer.far, and you should get a message with some commands to get you started, which will let you know that you've successfully installed Composer. However, we want to be able to use Composer from anywhere, so we should move Composer to a file location that's part of path. I moved mine to user local bin, which I did with the command sudo move composer.far user local bin composer. Now if we move back to home, we can run Composer again and see that we still get the same welcoming prompt even though Composer is no longer in the same directory, which shows that Composer has been successfully installed globally. Next, we're going to want to grab the Community Edition of Docker, which allows us to create executable packages of software called containers. In this case, we're going to be creating a container to house all the software we need for our site. The easiest way is to visit the Docker CE page, which I will add a link to in the description below, and follow the instructions for your operating system. I'm using Ubuntu, so I'm going to quickly run through the steps for that operating system, which mostly involve running commands on the command line. When you're done, you can run sudo docker run hello-world, which should give you a welcome prompt if you've installed it properly. If you can run the same command without sudo, you can move on to the next step. However, if you get permission denied problems, we're going to need to apply a fix. This is the case with a few operating systems, and it's because Docker wants you to run it as root, but this can be a bit of a problem with TripleDoc, so we're going to create a Docker group using sudo group add docker, and we're going to add our user to the Docker group with sudo usermod-ag docker $user. There's documentation for this on the Docker site, which I'll link in the description below if you want to copy and paste the exact commands into your terminal. Now all you have to do is reset your terminal, or possibly your virtual machine if you're using one, and you should now be able to run Docker commands without being root. The last thing we need is Docker Compose, which you might already have if you've installed Docker CE on a Mac or Windows operating system. You can check to see if you have it by running docker-compose-version. If the version is shown, you can skip to the next step. Otherwise, we're going to need to run through the installation. Follow the documentation on the Docker site, which I will link in the description below, and when you're finished, you can make sure you have it installed by running docker-compose-version again. Now that we have all the requirements out of the way, we can finally install TripleDoc. Run composer global require statlab/tripledoc, which will install TripleDoc and all its dependencies for you. If we try to run TripleDoc commands now, we're probably going to get the command not found error. This is because TripleDoc is not installed in the current directory. If we navigate to the directory where TripleDoc is located, we should be able to run TripleDoc commands. However, this is inconvenient, and it would be better if we could run TripleDoc commands globally. This can be done by adding TripleDoc to your path. In your home directory, open up .bashrc with the text editor like Nano or Vim, and at the bottom add the following line. You can find the exact command on the TripleDoc GitHub page, which will be linked in the description. Close the text editor and reset your terminal, then check to see if you can run TripleDoc. If you're still getting errors, then either TripleDock is not installed in the directory provided, or your operating system takes the line in a different text file like bash profile. In both cases, you'll probably have to do some digging around on your system, or you can try to utilize some of the help resources that will be mentioned at the end of the video. At this point, I recommend creating a directory to house your sites just for the sake of organization. I'm going to create one in my home directory called Sites. Move to your newly created directory, and now you can create your site using TripleDock new and the name of your site. I'm just going to call my site Site for now. This installation usually takes a few minutes, but when it finishes, it will give you the URL for your new Triple site as well as the username and password to your admin account. It will also tell you to run the command drush update db, which applies any updates for Triple, but I'm going to visit the site first just to show you that it's working. By default, the URL for your first site should be localhost:3000. When the site loads up, we can log in as admin with the account information provided from the terminal. By default, the username will be Triple and the password will be secret. I'm going to move back to my terminal and use that drush command. Drush is a command line shell for Drupal, the PHP framework for the site, and it allows you to run commands for your site from the terminal. Provided that your virtual machine doesn't crash, like mine did, it should finish updating and you should now have a site running an up-to-date version of Triple 3 ready for use. Congratulations on getting your first site with TripleDock up and running. Now that you have TripleDock working, you can quickly create as many sites as you need just by running the new command with the name of your site. If you're new to Triple, consider consulting the triple.info site or the Triple GitHub for more information, both of which will be linked in the description. If you run into any problems during development, you can post an issue to our GitHub page, which will also be available in the description, or you can email me at jwest2178@gmail.com. Thanks for watching and happy developing.